Hello YouTube, welcome to the Nerd Zone. I'm Scruffy and this is Scruffy Tales. And in this video I will explore why the climactic final battle of Dune Part 2 makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever. So, first off, uh, lasguns and shields in the books. Well, here we have some Harkonnen, and they are armed with lasguns, and appears to not be afraid to bring them on patrol when they're fighting Fremen. Uh, which is fine because Fremen don't use shields. And in the books, there is this slight problem with shields. That is because if you hit the shield with a lasgun, you end up with this, a nuclear explosion where the shield is at. And also that could overload the lasgun itself, so it too will detonate into a nuclear explosion. So you will have two nuclear explosions within 100 meters of each other or something like that. Pretty devastating. You don't usually want that to happen, since that will wipe out your own troops, unless it's a suicide guy or two of them, even they just shoot at each other with lasguns and shields and whatever. Never mind those issues. But in the books, you do not use lasguns against shields because you end up with a big explosion. Makes you wonder why they ever needed nukes to blast holes in the wall, since all they needed was a lasgun and a shield. Never mind that. That's why you don't want lasguns firing at shields. And that is why you have swords and knives and stuff instead. You know, makes perfect sense. Makes a cool setting. There's a problem though in the movies, because in the movies they don't give a rat's ass about shields and lasguns for creating nuclear explosions. Here we have in the first movie not Harkonnens, sorry, Sardaukar going after Paul Atreides. They have just killed Duncan Idaho, who had a shield, and the Sardaukar used shields in that fight as well. And here they have a lasgun, and they are using it to cut open a blast door. And here you have the laser beam moving through the blast door, almost hitting people, and it's gonna cut its way through walls and what have you. The funny thing is, they don't know if any one of these guys are wearing a shield, right? So obviously, this is not an issue in the movies. You can use lasguns without issue and don't have to worry about shields. Further evidence to illustrate my point. Duncan Idaho, as he tries to escape Arrakeen, does so in a ornithopter, goddamn word. And as he's fleeing, the Harkonnen trying to shoot him down with a laser gun, or las cannon, fitted onto a warship. And as we know, ornithopters have shields as well. Duncan Idaho took a hit or a couple of hits from missiles, and here you can see the blue shields around his ornithopter. And here is from Dune Part 2, when Chani fires her rocket launcher at an ornithopter, and the projectile is slowly digging its way through the shield to connect and destroy the aircraft. So they are shielded. But this laser beam here is kind of proof that in the movies, lasguns and shields will not cause a nuclear detonation. And this kind of makes the last battle in Dune 2 a bit problematic, if you ask me. And before we move on to the battle itself, I just want to highlight how powerful lasguns are in the movies, and they are powerful. Down here, you have Duncan Idaho in the ornithopter, and this is the beam from the las cannon on that Harkonnen warship. And take a look how easily it just melts its way through structures, straight through. It's not like it's digging its way through up here and wrecking stuff up here. It just goes straight through, and following the ornithopter all over the city, just bringing down one building after the other, cutting everything apart, cutting everything to pieces. And here you have, from the first movie again, the Sardaukar and their last gun as they are trying to breach the blast door. It continues through the door, down the corridor, and hits a wall, and it just melts away the wall, basically. Cuts through it like nothing. So the last guns of the movies, they are super powerful. Keep that in mind. So, the final battle, and quite frankly, how they fucked it up. And let's see here. Just, I mean, we know they have las guns. We know they use las guns and las cannons in combat on the battlefield. And we know that las cannons, las guns will not cause nuclear explosions if they connect with a shield. So my question is, why isn't this very vital spaceport, why doesn't it have any las guns, any turrets, anything? So just imagine if this thing here, whatever it is, was a turret, a defensive structure with a couple of las guns on it. Why wouldn't it? And remember how powerful they are? They can just melt through anything. Why can't they? What would have happened if they would have had the las gun here and just opened fire on the worms? Right? Dead worms, dead Fremen, right? You can have as many las guns as you want defending important places. Why doesn't this spaceport, starport, whatever, have any defensive installations whatsoever? It makes zero sense. And then, you know, the Harkonnen, they bring in their ornithopters and they bring in a swarm of them, right? And they fly past the worms and the Fremen and they fire missiles. Imagine if they had las guns instead and just, you know, cut these worms wide open and just aimed at these guys here. That would be shish kebab, right? What's going on? I don't get it. And weirdly, and even more weird, I mean, earlier in the movie, we saw that these ornithopters have this thing. What is it? A full auto shotgun thing? I mean, take a look. It is meant to kill masses of people or at least get a kill without the need to be accurate, right? It's a shotgun. It's a massive shotgun that just wipes out squads of troops. Imagine if, why don't they open fire with this thing at these guys? What's up with the missiles? It's I don't get it. It makes no sense. And I mean, take a look at this. I mean, we know Fremen don't use shields, and we also know that there's no danger of using a las gun against a shield that will not cause nuclear explosions. So here we have the Fremen, and here we have the Sardaukar. And I mean, what if 2 or 3 guys here had one of these with them, right? We know the Sardaukar use these. And we know how powerful it is. It will go through blast doors and rocks and walls and what have you with ease. So imagine 2 or 3 guys bringing these along and just sweeping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Are you telling me that this army here of Fremen would not fall apart in pieces, literally, right? I, what? Why? Why don't they bring these things and just cut them down? What's up with this stupid Hollywood Braveheart charge straight in? What, I don't. Oh, it makes no sense. Or why not just bring these in? I mean, take a look. Ornithopter. Why doesn't that guy flying with this and just do this to all of these guys here? Oh. Ugh. And then you have like the Emperor's ship. I mean, are you telling me this thing doesn't have any weapons at all whatsoever? No las guns, las cannons, missiles, nothing? No, nothing at all. I mean, this is the structure they're attacking, and these are massive ships, massive. So take a look at this. You can see here just how incredibly massive everything is, and this is even bigger, right? Why isn't this thing firing down on the Fremen as they are coming in? Why doesn't this thing just obliterate the worms as they're coming in? What's going on? Right? What's going on? It makes absolutely nada sense whatsoever. And I mean, we've seen uh, the Harkonnens and their firepower, their las cannons, their missiles, just obliterating everything in their path. Why doesn't, or tell me that the Emperor's personal ship transport doesn't have anything similar to this to defend itself or whatever, right? I mean, what? No, it makes no sense. So what should the battle really have been? It should have been like this. The plan was to let the sandstorm sweep in to deny the Harkonnen and the Emperor any chance to rely on air power to win the battle, right? But in the movie, everyone just rushes in before the sandstorm is even in effect, basically, around the starport, right? Sort of fighting out in the open under a clear sky. It makes zero sense at all. I mean, in this situation, you can say, yeah, the Sardaukar can't see that far, so they can't use their las guns. The Ornithopter aren't as effective and whatever, all of that good stuff. And that would have made sense. This and in this environment, this sandstorm environment, the Fremen should have the advantage since they're used to fighting in these conditions. It would have been like a much more epic version of this ambush in the first movie, where the Fremen ambush the Sardaukar and use dust screens to confuse them and cut them down one by one instead of facing them head on in a big clash, right? This is the whole plan on a much larger scale, but they just ignore it for some reason. Oh, we're gonna wait for Sandstorm to sweep in, and then we deny the Harkonnen air power, air superiority, and then they just in the movie ignore it and have a big fight without the Sandstorm ever sweeping in. It's so stupid. So, I mean, this is what we should have seen from the very beginning. Here we have like the Sardaukar in the Emperor's chamber, and the sandstorm sweeping in. The Sardaukar are badass and whatever, and then they enter the sandstorm, and we don't know what's happening, and they all die. Right? Makes sense. That was should have been the plan, or it was the plan, and it should have been the entire fight sequence for a battle sequence from start to finish. Uh, on another note, why aren't these guys wearing shields? Or, I mean, shouldn't the Fremen have massive issue fighting these people as they are when they have shields activated? I don't know. In the end, this is a Hollywood battle just like any other. A fantastic spectacle, but so incredibly dumb. I mean, this thing. How are these guys here, right? Even if they defeat all the Sardaukar, what are they going to do about this thing? What? what? What are they going to do about this thing? Why? It's. I mean, it's a. I assume it has shields, so they can't reach it. Uh, It doesn't appear to have weapons since it doesn't shoot at anything. So that's good. But I mean, what if the Emperor just goes whoop, travels back up to his to his ship? Well, what are the Fremen gonna do then? I don't get it. I guess, but imagine if this thing had one last cannon and it's shielded. What are they gonna do? It's just gonna go bzzz, and they're all gonna die, and then they're gonna ride around with their worms, and this thing is just gonna kill all the worms, and then Muad'Dib looks kind of like a jackass, unless he's launching nukes at it. Uh, but I wonder if the shields will protect it from new. I don't get it. It's uh, I don't know. It's silly. I mean, they spend all this time and effort creating this world, building this world, and then they ignore the world they themselves have shown us. And I don't understand why whatsoever. That's it. Thank you for watching. Agree or disagree? Why don't you leave a comment? Let me know what you think. Hey, hit that like button and maybe even subscribe. Who knows? Uh, anyway, if you stuck with me through this video, thank you, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.